Welcome back to Who Died Today USA channel. In the past few days, we have received somber news about the passing of extraordinary talents. Today's episode is dedicated to honoring their memory. Additionally, we will recap the stars we have recently lost. Before we begin, we kindly ask for your support. If this video or the legacies of these remarkable individuals have touched your life, please consider giving this video a thumbs up as a sign of respect and remembrance. Thank you. It always started with a voice, high, yearning, impossible to forget. Lou Christie didn't just sing songs, he carved emotions into sound. When Lightnin Strikes hit the airwaves in 1966, it didn't just climb to #1, it electrified a generation. That falsetto, urgent and pleading, gave voice to the drama of young love in a way no one else dared. And if you listened closely, it wasn't just a song. It was Lou telling you a story, messy, real, beautiful. Born Luigi Alfredo Giovanni Sacco near Pittsburgh, he was just a teenager when he met the brilliant Twyla Herbert, nearly twice his age and just as eccentric. Together, they wrote hundreds of songs, but none more iconic than The Gypsy Cried and Two Faces Have I, both released in 1963. His sound was already different, but the world wasn't always ready for different. In fact, Lightnin Strikes was once tossed aside by a record executive who called it a piece of junk. Lou didn't flinch. He believed. He and Twyla funded it themselves. And just like the song promised, lightning struck, again and again. But Lou's career wasn't always chart-topping headlines and standing ovations. He faced doubts, industry indifference, and changing tides. He joined the army. He came back. He evolved, moving into country, recording Beyond the Blue Horizon in 1974, and always staying true to his style, theatrical, heartfelt, and proudly his own. Even as the spotlight shifted, Lou never stopped performing. Through the decades, he brought his music to fans, touring with old friends, still singing with the same fire he had at 23. He was the voice you remembered, the voice that never quite left you. On June 18, 2025, Lou passed away peacefully in Pittsburgh after a short illness. He was 82. But the songs? They're forever young. Because every time you hear that falsetto breaking through a quiet moment, you're reminded, some voices don't fade, they echo. And Lou's is still ringing in the rain. Charles Burrell didn't just play music, he rewrote what was possible. He was only a young man when he stepped into the Denver Symphony Orchestra in 1949. But that moment echoed far beyond one stage. It made him the first African-American musician in a major American orchestra, a quiet, dignified revolution in a country still learning how to listen. Born in 1920, Charles found rhythm early. From classical halls to smoky jazz clubs, his upright bass became a compass, guiding him across genres, generations, and history itself. He was as at home performing Mozart in formal wear as he was riffing through a late-night jazz set at 5 Points Rossonian Lounge. In a world that tried to put musicians and people into boxes, Charles broke them with every note. Those who knew him called him the Jackie Robinson of classical music. And not just for what he overcame, but for how he did it, with quiet courage, humility, and undeniable skill. He inspired not only audiences, but fellow musicians, proving that excellence doesn't ask for permission. In his later years, the world finally began to recognize what he had always been, a legend. A school now bears his name. The Colorado Music Hall of Fame honored his trailblazing spirit, and just last year, at the MLK Jr. Business Awards, his legacy was celebrated once more. Charles passed peacefully at 104, a testament to a life lived fully, richly, and with purpose. His cousin, musician Pernell Steen, said it best. He redefined dignity through his humility. If Charles Burrell's music ever made you feel seen, uplifted, or simply at peace, share your memories in the comments. He may no longer walk among us, but his sound still lingers, bold, graceful, and deeply human. Thank you, Charles. You didn't just play bass. You gave us something to believe in. Breaking news. He has shaped the very language of modern filmmaking, from the grit of the streets to the grandeur of history. But what lies behind the piercing gaze and tireless output of this cinematic giant? As Martin Scorsese pushes into his 80s, is the man who gave us gangsters, saints, and sinners quietly confronting his most personal battle yet? Welcome to Who Died Today, USA. In today's episode, we explore the remarkable and at times agonizing journey of Martin Scorsese, director, historian, visionary, and survivor. From childhood asthma to near-fatal breakdowns, from spiritual crisis to career-defining masterpieces, Scorsese's life is as epic and fraught as the films he directs. But how much do you really know about the pain behind the camera? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Born on November 17, 1942, in Queens, New York, Martin Scorsese grew up in the heart of Little Italy, a place teeming with stories, violence, and unspoken codes. As a child, Scorsese battled severe asthma. It kept him from sports and social life, confining him to movie theaters, where he found his earliest education in humanity. Watching classic films became more than an escape. It became survival. "Movies were my lifeline," he once said. "They gave me permission to feel." Those feelings soon found form. At NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, he found his voice. His short film, The Big Shave, a visceral metaphor for the Vietnam War, shocked audiences. But it was Mean Streets, 1973, that announced him to the world. Raw, autobiographical, and filled with religious guilt and street violence, it marked the beginning of a new era and a new cinematic language. Then came Taxi Driver, 1976. The world saw Travis Bickle, but Scorsese saw a nation's fractured psyche. He took us inside the mind of alienation itself, and it terrified us. But while his reputation soared, Scorsese himself was sinking. In the late 1970s, after the critical and financial failure of New York, Scorsese spiraled into drug use, insomnia, and physical collapse. In 1978, he was hospitalized with internal bleeding. Doctors feared the worst. But a visit from Robert De Niro changed his course. De Niro handed him a script about a boxer named Jake LaMotta. Raging Bull was born from that near death. The film became a masterpiece, violent, poetic, spiritual. It was the beginning of Scorsese's redemption and one of the most haunting expressions of masculinity in modern art. But redemption did not mean peace. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Scorsese's career swayed between brilliance and rejection. The Last Temptation of Christ, 1988, nearly got him excommunicated by public opinion. Protesters called it blasphemy. The Vatican denounced it. Theaters were threatened. But Scorsese stood firm. "It was the hardest thing I have ever done," he admitted, "but it was also the truest." And he never stopped searching for truth. Goodfellas, 1990, Casino, 1995, Gangs of New York, 2002, The Departed, 2006. Each of these films explored ambition, guilt, power, and the terrible beauty of human imperfection. But with age came reckoning. Scorsese's longtime partner, Helen Morris, lives with Parkinson's disease. The toll of caregiving, combined with the exhaustion of directing sprawling, demanding films, began to weigh visibly on him. In interviews, his movements grew slower. His voice, once commanding, took on the cadence of reflection. Yet even as his body slowed, his mind refused to yield. In his 80s, he directed The Irishman, 2019, a mournful meditation on time, regret, and mortality. The de-aged faces of its actors became a metaphor. Even digital tricks could not hide what we lose with age. In 2023, he unveiled Killers of the Flower Moon, a sweeping historical epic that tackled the erasure of indigenous pain. Critics hailed it as his most compassionate film. And once again, he stood among giants. But even giants grow weary. Scorsese has spoken candidly about mortality, aging, and the fear of irrelevance. In a time when superhero franchises dominate the box office, he became a lightning rod for controversy. His 2019 comment that Marvel films are not cinema sparked outrage and debate. They are theme parks, he clarified. They are not about human beings trying to convey emotional experiences. Was he bitter or just brutally honest? Many agreed. Some dismissed him as outdated. But the discussion forced Hollywood to look in the mirror. He remains deeply concerned about the future of storytelling. AI, synthetic actors, and soulless content. Scorsese sees it all as a threat to what cinema was meant to do: reflect the soul. His legacy extends beyond films. Through his nonprofit, the Film Foundation, he has restored over 900 classic films from around the globe. He is not just preserving the past, he is safeguarding the very DNA of cinema. In the quiet moments, away from red carpets and festival awards, Martin Scorsese is a man confronting time. He knows he cannot make films forever. He once said, "Every movie might be my last, so I direct each one as if it is." That urgency gives his work its heartbeat. That fragility makes his genius feel human. So, who is Martin Scorsese to you? The creator of Goodfellas? The rebel who took on Hollywood? Or the elder statesman whispering warnings from the edge of a fading industry? Let us know in the comments. What Scorsese moment shook you, moved you, or made you see the world differently? And if this tribute moved you, like and share to honor the quiet fury, the unwavering faith, and the fragile brilliance of a man who gave his life to stories, so we could better understand our own. Because while film reels end and directors one day call cut, the legacy of Martin Scorsese plays on, frame by frame, breath by breath, heart to heart. Leonard Lauder, cosmetics titan and transformational philanthropist, has died at 92. The former CEO and chairman of Estee Lauder Companies passed away peacefully on June 14, 2025, leaving behind a legacy that forever reshaped the beauty industry and philanthropic landscape. Born in New York City in 1933, Leonard was the eldest son of Estee and Joseph Lauder, founders of the beauty empire. He officially joined the company in 1958 after serving as a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy and studying at Columbia University's Graduate School of Business. At the time, the company was still a boutique operation with fewer than 50 employees. Leonard led Estee Lauder Companies through a period of explosive global growth. He became president in 1972, CEO in 1982, and chairman in 1995. Under his leadership, the company launched powerhouse brands such as Clinique and Aramis and expanded its portfolio to include La Mer, MAC, Bobbi Brown, and more. He was instrumental in taking the company public in 1995, a move that turned the Lauder name into a Wall Street success story. But Lauder's impact extended far beyond beauty counters. A passionate art collector, he donated a landmark 78-piece Cubist collection to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in 2013, the largest single gift in the museum's history. He also founded the Leonard A. Lauder Research Center for Modern Art to further scholarship and public engagement. In healthcare, Lauder was a driving force. He helped found the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation with his brother Ronald and served as honorary chair of the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, which his late wife, Evelyn Lauder, co-founded. A defining moment of his philanthropy came in 2020 when he gave $125 million to the University of Pennsylvania to fund tuition-free education for nurse practitioners, the largest donation ever to a U.S. nursing school. Lauder was also known for coining the lipstick index, observing that cosmetic sales tend to rise during economic downturns, a testament to his deep understanding of both human behavior and consumer psychology. When asked how he wanted to be remembered, he once said, "He listened, and he was kind." True to that, his handwritten notes and unwavering courtesy made him a beloved figure in business and beyond. Leonard Lauder is survived by his wife Judy Glickman Lauder, his sons William and Gary, his brother Ronald, 5 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren, and a large extended family. His legacy is one of beauty, generosity, and boundless human connection. Ananda Lewis, the trailblazing MTV VJ, talk show host, and fierce breast cancer advocate, has passed away at the age of 52. Her death was confirmed by her sister, Lakshmi Emery, in a heartfelt Facebook post on June 11, 2025, marking the end of a journey defined by courage, creativity, and compassion. Born in 1973, Lewis rose to fame in the late 1990s as a vibrant and insightful presence on MTV. She hosted Total Request Live, Hot Zone, and a host of other youth-oriented programs that connected a generation to music, celebrity culture, and important social issues. With a voice that was both cool and commanding, Ananda stood out, not just as a host, but as a mentor and advocate. Before MTV, Lewis was the host of BET's Teen Summit, where she tackled complex topics affecting young Black Americans. She brought her passion for activism to every stage she stood on, including moderating MTV forums on school violence and racial profiling. In 2001, she launched The Ananda Lewis Show, a syndicated daytime talk show that ran for over 250 episodes. Though short-lived, it reinforced her commitment to amplifying voices and experiences often left out of mainstream media. Her life took another dramatic turn in 2019 when she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. She was candid about her struggles, revealing in 2020 that she had delayed mammograms due to fears of radiation, a decision she came to regret deeply. Early detection can save your life, she urged, using her platform to raise awareness. Lewis fought fiercely, exploring holistic and integrative treatments and even chronicling her experience in a 2025 Essence op-ed. Despite reaching stage 4 by 2023, she embraced life fully, saying the diagnosis made her access joy she never knew she was missing. Ananda Lewis is remembered not only for her contributions to media, but for her unwavering commitment to authenticity, advocacy, and truth. She changed lives, on and off the screen. As she once said, "You have to do what works for you, and only you." And in doing just that, she inspired millions. Johnny Rodriguez, the pioneering Chicano country star whose soulful voice and bilingual ballads redefined the genre in the 1970s, has passed away at the age of 73. He died on May 9, 2025 in San Antonio due to health complications, as confirmed by his daughter, Aubrey Rodriguez. Surrounded by family, he departed peacefully, leaving behind a legacy that helped open the gates of country music to Latino artists and listeners alike. Born in Sabinal, Texas, Rodriguez was the second youngest of 10 children. His humble upbringing near the Mexico border shaped his identity and music. Singing in church as a child and later in local bars, he blended country sounds with Mexican influences, introducing a bilingual flavor that was almost unheard of in Nashville at the time. His rise to fame began after he was discovered singing in a Texas jail, leading to a meteoric career that included hits like "Ridin' My Thumb to Mexico" and "I Just Can't Get Her Out of My Mind." In 1972, he was named Most Promising Male Vocalist by the Academy of Country Music, and his debut album earned a nomination for Album of the Year. He went on to chart over a dozen top 10 singles and became the first Mexican-American to break into mainstream country music. Rodriguez's career was marked not only by success, but also by personal struggles. His battles with substance abuse and a 1998 shooting incident, for which he was later acquitted of murder, cast shadows over his journey. Yet through it all, he remained a beloved figure, especially in South Texas, where he continued to perform even in his later years. George Strait, in a tribute, called Rodriguez an inspiration, saying his success gave him hope as a fellow South Texan. "What a great talent he was," Strait said. Inducted into the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame in 2007 and recipient of the Hispanic Culture Pioneer Award, Johnny Rodriguez was more than a country star. He was a cultural trailblazer. His songs, filled with heartbreak and heartland truth, continue to echo with fans old and new. He is survived by his daughter Aubrey and remembered as a groundbreaking artist whose music transcended borders, both literal and musical. Chris Robinson, beloved soap opera icon best known for his role as Dr. Rick Weber on General Hospital, has died at age 86. He passed peacefully in his sleep on June 9, 2025, at his ranch near Sedona, Arizona, after a prolonged battle with heart failure. With a career spanning over 6 decades, Robinson left a lasting mark on both television and film. He began in the late 1950s, working as a stunt actor in cult classics like Diary of a High School Bride and Beast from Haunted Cave. He went on to appear in numerous hit series including Gunsmoke, Sea Hunt, The Fugitive, and Perry Mason, showcasing his versatility and rugged charm. Robinson's most enduring role came in 1978 when he joined General Hospital as Dr. Rick Weber, the adoptive father of Laura, one half of the soap world's most iconic couple, Luke and Laura. His portrayal of Rick helped anchor one of the show's most compelling love triangles alongside Monica and Leslie. He remained a staple on the series until 1986, returning briefly in 2002 for a controversial and emotional storyline. Outside of General Hospital, Robinson starred as Jack Hamilton in The Bold and the Beautiful from 1992 to 2002 and appeared on Another World as Jason Frame. His ability to bring complexity and vulnerability to his characters endeared him to generations of daytime television fans. Robinson also made pop culture history with a Vicks cough syrup commercial in the 1980s, delivering the now famous line, "I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV," a phrase that became a catchphrase across America. His final film appearance was in the 2022 movie Just for a Week. Robinson is remembered not only as a prolific actor, but as a devoted family man. He is survived by his wife of 14 years, Jackie Shane Robinson, his sons Shane, Kobe, Christian, Taylor, Christopher Lance, adopted son Rob Walker, and 5 grandchildren. Chris Robinson's legacy lives on through his iconic performances and the heartfelt memories he created for fans and colleagues alike. Kim Woodburn, the iconic British television personality and Queen of Clean, passed away on June 16, 2025, at the age of 83 after a short illness, her manager confirmed. She died peacefully with her husband, Peter Woodburn, by her side. Born Patricia Mary Mackenzie on March 25, 1942, Kim rose from a deeply troubled childhood to become one of the UK's most recognizable reality TV stars. In her 2006 memoir, Unbeaten, she spoke candidly about surviving abuse and homelessness, a raw honesty that later became her trademark. Kim first won the hearts of millions with How Clean Is Your House, which aired on Channel 4 from 2003 to 2009. Partnering with Aggie Mackenzie, the show turned home cleaning into captivating television. Her stern yet humorous demeanor earned her the title Queen of Clean and made her a national treasure. Her reality TV fame grew with appearances on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, in 2009, where she finished runner-up, and Celebrity Big Brother in 2017. Though her stint in the Big Brother house was marred by controversy, particularly a clash with fellow contestant Colleen Nolan, it only cemented her status as an unforgettable presence in British pop culture. Despite the public disputes, those close to Kim remember her as a warm, kind, and deeply caring person. Her manager described her as an incredibly kind, charismatic, and strong person, while her grieving husband shared a heartfelt tribute on Instagram. "My wonderful, beautiful Kim passed away last night. God bless my love." Fans poured out tributes online, many celebrating her honesty, strength, and humor. One summed up the sentiment perfectly. "Kim gave us so much laughter and rare honesty. What a gem." Kim Woodburn's life was a testament to resilience, reinvention, and the power of authenticity. She leaves behind a legacy of laughter, inspiration, and an unshakable spirit. He called himself a working-class actor, but to those who knew and loved his work, Wings Hauser was a one-of-a-kind force in American film and television. With nearly 6 decades in Hollywood, he brought raw, unforgettable energy to every role he touched, from hard-edged thrillers to daytime dramas. And while his passing in March 2025 was due to natural causes following a long battle with chronic illness, his story is far from over. Today, we look back at the grit, the legacy, and the lasting heart of a man who never stopped believing in the power of his craft. Born Gerald Dwight Hauser in Hollywood, California, Wings was the son of an Academy Award-winning filmmaker, but his path was anything but easy. Before the bright lights came long days, quiet struggles, and even homelessness. He once lived in a garage with his daughter, barely making ends meet. But Wings believed in storytelling, and that belief never wavered. His breakthrough came with Vice Squad in 1982, where he played a chilling villain and sang the film's haunting theme song. From there, his roles multiplied: The Young and the Restless, Magnum P.I., Murder, She Wrote, Beverly Hills 90210, and dozens more. But Wings wasn't just an actor. He was a storyteller, a songwriter, a fighter. He brought truth to every line and soul to every scene. He was working on a documentary about his life, working-class actor, when his health began to fade. Still, he pushed forward, supported by his wife and creative partner, Callie Lilly, in a sanctuary they built together to celebrate art, music, and healing. Wings Hauser's legacy lives on in every young actor he inspired, including his son, Cole Hauser of Yellowstone fame. But more than that, Wings leaves behind a lesson that greatness isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it's found in perseverance, in truth, and in a life lived fully, even through the struggle. Have you ever been moved by a performance that stayed with you long after the credits rolled? Wings gave us many. Let us know your favorite. And if his story touched you, consider sharing this tribute in his honor. His voice may have quieted, but his spirit will always resonate. Alan Yentob was never just a television executive. He was a true cultural architect. For nearly 6 decades, he shaped British broadcasting with imagination, courage, and heart, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire artists and audiences around the world. On a quiet Saturday in May 2025, Alan passed away at the age of 78 after a period of illness. But his influence, on the screen and far beyond it, lives on. From the moment he joined the BBC as a trainee in 1968, Alan Yentob saw television not just as entertainment, but as a window to the world's richest ideas. He championed groundbreaking series like Arena and Imagine, where art, music, and storytelling came alive under his vision. Whether profiling David Bowie in a limousine or bringing classical literature to millions through Pride and Prejudice, he reminded us that culture could both challenge and comfort. Alan's journey wasn't about fame, it was about purpose. He launched CBBC and CBeebies, ensuring that the youngest viewers could grow up curious and inspired. He backed programs like Absolutely Fabulous and Have I Got News for You, blending humor with sharp insight. And in every project, he brought an unmistakable belief that television should be bold, beautiful, and for everyone. He held some of the highest titles in the BBC, controller of both BBC One and Two, director of television, creative director. but those who worked with him remember him most for his generosity. He was a mentor, a champion of young talent, and a believer in second chances. In the words of his wife, Philippa, he was the kindest of men, exciting, curious, funny, and profoundly moral. Alan Yentob's story is not only one of success, it's one of vision, conviction, and a relentless devotion to making the world more meaningful through art. If his work ever moved you, inspired you, or made you think a little differently, we invite you to share that memory, because that's where his spirit will always live. George Freeman wasn't just a guitarist. He was a musical firebrand whose 6 strings carried the heartbeat of a city and a generation. From his early days sneaking into jazz clubs on Chicago's South Side to the final notes of a remarkable career that spanned more than 8 decades, George always played his own way, bold, soulful, and ahead of the curve. On April 1st, 2025, George passed away in his beloved hometown at the age of 97, following age-related health complications. But what he left behind is nothing short of a living legacy. Born into a family that breathed music, George picked up the guitar as a teenager after witnessing T-Bone Walker electrify a crowd. By his 20s, he was playing with giants: Charlie Parker, Gene Ammons, Dexter Gordon, Count Basie. His sound, rooted in bebop but fearlessly experimental, was instantly recognizable and always a step beyond the expected. Though revered by fellow musicians and critics alike, George never chased the spotlight. He was often overshadowed by his brother Von Freeman, a tenor saxophonist of legend. But George kept playing, recording, and reinventing. In the 1970s, he dropped his first solo records, showcasing his fearless flair. And decades later, well into his 90s, he released new music, collaborated with jazz icons like Christian McBride and Joey DeFrancesco, and headlined Chicago's most beloved stages. Life wasn't without challenges. Vision problems and missed opportunities early in his career might have stopped others. But George stayed grounded, faithful to his craft, and fiercely connected to his roots. When his brother passed in 2012, the jazz community rallied behind him, and George, ever vibrant, rose into a late-career renaissance. To see him play was to witness joy. To hear him speak was to understand humility. "Why not help another musician do his thing?" he once asked. "You'll get your turn when the time comes." George Freeman's turn lasted a lifetime, and in every note he played, he gave the rest of us something unforgettable. Lauren Rook, a creative soul who helped shape the heart and spirit of HGTV, passed peacefully on June 12, 2025, at age 55, following a courageous journey with acute myeloid leukemia. Even if his name isn't instantly familiar, his work certainly is. Over 3 decades, Lauren helped bring to life some of television's most beloved shows: Celebrity IOU, Property Brothers, My Lottery Dream Home, and A Very Brady Renovation, among others. He began his career producing daytime talk and game shows, then spent a decade at Good Day LA, where his passion for storytelling earned him 5 Emmy Awards. But Lauren's true genius wasn't just about television ratings. It was about connection. As head of content at HGTV, he championed series that brought comfort, joy, and inspiration into millions of homes. And in 2021, as co-host of House Party, Lauren shared his genuine warmth on screen, inviting audiences to laugh, reflect, and celebrate life's little moments. Behind the scenes, Lauren was cherished not only for his creativity, but for his heart. Colleagues describe him as a mentor, a friend, and a guiding light. His belief in people, his ability to lift others up, and his quiet strength in challenging times left a lasting mark across the industry. Though his final years were shaped by personal challenges, Lauren remained committed to what he loved, making homes more joyful, more meaningful, more human, on screen and in real life. His light continues through every home transformation he made possible, every laugh shared on screen, and every heart he touched. Lauren is survived by his loving husband, David Salas, his parents Dolly and Larry, and brother Jeffrey. And to those of us who welcomed his work into our living rooms, Lauren Ruch will always feel like family. Latonia Patine's story was one of struggle, perseverance, and deep humanity. Known to many from season 11 of My 600 Lo Bai Life, Latonia opened her heart to viewers, sharing a journey that was as emotionally powerful as it was physically demanding. She passed away on May 17, 2025, at the age of 40 due to congestive heart failure. Born and raised in Louisiana, Latonia faced profound challenges early in life. The loss of her mother and the absence of her father left emotional wounds that would follow her into adulthood. In those tender years, food became a source of comfort, and over time, her health began to suffer. Despite these hardships, Latonia showed tremendous resolve. At the start of her time on the show, she weighed 531 pounds and courageously worked to bring that down to 505. But after the show aired, intense public scrutiny and harsh criticism led her into a period of deep emotional pain. Depression set in, and fear began to overshadow her plans for further health interventions. In 2023, while seeking a fresh start in Houston, she found herself in another storm, an unhealthy relationship, and the emotional burden of her father's illness. These life stresses worsened her physical condition, leaving her bedridden by mid-2024. Still, Latonia never stopped fighting. Her heartfelt messages on social media and her GoFundMe campaign reflected a woman determined not to give up. "I truly want to fight for my health and my life," she wrote, and she meant it. Though she faced enormous barriers, physical, emotional, and societal, Latonia's strength lay in her honesty, her will to try, and her hope for a better future. She reminded us that behind every number is a name, a face, a story that matters. Latonia Patine may be gone, but the courage she showed in sharing her truth will not be forgotten. Dave Shapiro wasn't just a music executive, he was a force of vision, generosity, and fearless innovation. When he co-founded Sound Talent Group in 2018, he wasn't chasing trends. He was building a platform for voices that needed to be heard, bands who thrived on passion, not polish. Dave, 42, passed away in a tragic plane accident on June 13, 2025, during a return flight from New York to San Diego. His love for aviation was as profound as his devotion to music. Raised in upstate New York's straight-edge hardcore scene, Dave knew early on that music wasn't just background noise. It was identity, purpose, and community. His first taste of the road came as a teenager in the band Count the Stars. From there, he built a reputation in the music industry, not with ego, but with heart. Through Sound Talent Group and the National Independent Talent Organization, Dave helped countless artists, from Sum 41 to Pierce the Veil, find their stage, sometimes literally giving them a place to stay between tours. His motto, "We're people first, and we're everything else second." That humanity defined him. But there was another sky Dave loved, the one above the clouds. Flying gave him clarity. He described it as the only time when whatever's going on outside the plane doesn't matter. Dave founded Velocity Aviation and even married the love of his life, Julia, on a glacier in Alaska after flying themselves there. His spirit of adventure was boundless. Just days before the crash, Dave had celebrated a career milestone, a sold-out Madison Square Garden show with Pierce the Veil, the very band he first booked. It was a full-circle moment for a man who spent his life lifting others up. Dave Shapiro's legacy is written in the songs we play, the artists we love, and the stories we'll tell for years to come. He lived with passion, gave without limits, and believed that every band deserved a chance. And in doing so, he changed the industry and lives forever. Breaking news. He has become the voice of the American West, a living embodiment of grit, honor, and resilience. But as Sam Elliott enters his 80s, questions emerge. Is the man behind the mustache finally showing signs of wear from decades of personal sacrifice, heartbreak, and physical toll? Welcome to Who Died Today, USA. In this episode, we explore the extraordinary life and hidden battles of Sam Elliott, the Hollywood cowboy whose legacy reaches far beyond the screen. For fans who admire his slow drawl, his unwavering gaze, and his quiet strength, there is much more to know. What shaped him? What nearly broke him? And what has kept him going? Born August 9, 1944, in Sacramento, California, Sam Elliott grew up with structure and hard expectations. His father, a tough-minded government worker, openly dismissed his son's dream of acting. The words, "You'll never make it," echoed painfully after his father's untimely passing when Sam was just 18. That heartbreak carved itself deep into his spirit. Elliott didn't retreat. He moved forward, one small step at a time. Supporting himself through odd jobs, from construction work to hotel clerking, he took acting classes in Los Angeles, knowing full well the odds were against him. His voice, his look, his whole demeanor were out of step with the youthful heartthrobs casting agents pursued in the 1960s. But Sam Elliott would not compromise. Early in his career, he took small roles in television shows like Mission, Impossible, and Gunsmoke. These appearances weren't glamorous, but they built a foundation. The real turning point came in 1985's Mask, where his nuanced performance opposite Cher introduced audiences to a deeper, more emotionally layered Elliott. Then came Roadhouse in 1989, and later, his unforgettable role as Virgil Earp in Tombstone, 1993. He wasn't just playing cowboys anymore. He was redefining them, men with scars, silence, and substance. But Elliott's climb to acclaim was never meteoric. He built his career brick by brick, role by role. The Big Lebowski, 1998, made him an icon among a new generation. His narration and brief on-screen presence as the stranger became instantly quotable. In a film filled with chaos, he was the moral anchor. The pinnacle came with A Star is Born, 2018, where Elliott portrayed Bobby Maine, the older brother to Bradley Cooper's character. His portrayal earned him his first Academy Award nomination at the age of 74. One tearful moment in the driveway, just one look, captured a lifetime of unspoken pain. It was a masterclass in restraint, in grace, in being. Yet the real challenges Elliott faced were not always on screen. Behind the camera, he stood by his wife, actress Catherine Ross, whom he married in 1984. Their enduring relationship has weathered public scrutiny, legal disputes involving Ross's daughter, and the quiet isolation of living outside the Hollywood spotlight. They chose a life of simplicity, mostly in Oregon, far from the frenzy of Los Angeles. Elliott has long said that nature, not fame, is what keeps him grounded. Still, aging has not left him untouched. In recent years, fans noticed a visible tilt in his posture and a more deliberate cadence to his voice. Though he has not publicly confirmed any medical diagnosis, online speculation has suggested neurological concerns. A noticeable limp, observed in interviews and public appearances, adds to the concern. And yet, Elliott keeps working. In 2022, he took on the emotionally demanding role of Shay Brennan in the Yellowstone prequel, 1883. As a grief-stricken Civil War veteran, Elliott poured real pain into every word. Critics called it one of his best performances. For Elliott, it felt like a summation, a full-circle return to the spirit of the American West he has always channeled. But controversy found him in 2022 when he criticized the power of the dog, calling it inauthentic and questioning its themes. The backlash was swift. Jane Campion, the film's director, responded publicly, and Elliott soon issued an apology. "I said things that hurt people," he admitted. "I feel terrible about that." The apology was not a PR move. It was deeply personal. For a man raised on the values of responsibility and integrity, those words mattered. He acknowledged his mistake, not with spin, but with humility. Despite his slower pace and more selective roles, Elliot's impact remains profound. He has lent his voice to veterans' causes, environmental campaigns, and classic film preservation. He is not just a performer, he is a custodian of American memory. In 2025, Sam Elliot continues to live privately, devoting time to his family and the quiet rituals of the life he built outside the spotlight. While his health remains a concern to some fans, his spirit shows no signs of fading. So, who is Sam Elliot to you? Is he the cowboy of Tombstone, the wise stranger of The Big Lebowski, or the grieving brother of A Star is Born? Or is he something more, a symbol of a kind of masculinity rarely seen today, steadfast, kind, unyielding, and real? Let us know in the comments. Which moment in Elliot's life or filmography resonated with you the most? And if this tribute stirred something in you, like and share it. Help us celebrate the quiet endurance, the rugged tenderness, and the legacy of a man who reminds us that strength does not always shout. It sometimes speaks in whispers and waits in silence. Because while Sam Elliot may be riding into the twilight of his career, his presence remains, etched in the hearts of those who still believe in honor, courage, and quiet resilience.